June 14th, 2022.
Ready?
Ready.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Evelyn.
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us all together this evening. Please guide us in our deliberations so that we may make wise and prudent decisions for those whom we serve. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we're going to have the roll call of attendees.
President Jack Piccolo.
Present.
Secretary Denise Williams, present. Sergeant at Arms Amanda Koch. Present. Chaplain Jim Singler.
Present.
Member Tom Milnick. Member Janet Blue.
Present.
Member Steve Beneke.
Present.
Past Chair Vic Martinka. Past Chair.
He's excused, sorry.
Excused. Nick's excused.
Vic Martinka. Past Chair excused.
Yeah.
John York. Past Chair. Absent. Past Chair Wayne Horn.
Here.
Yes.
Past Chair John Kessel.
Here.
Excused. Oh. Delegate William Sutton.
Here.
Delegate Dale Frayer.
Some nutritional water up here if anybody wants some. They don't want to go over the far.
Delegate Will Frayer. Absent.
Yes.
Delegate Lou Smith. Delegate Jim Hogan. Delegate Keith Carberry. Delegate Mike Myers.
Oddport Legion. Absent.
Delegate Bob Kruger.
Here.
Delegate Lisa Smith.
Absent.
Delegate Alice Rosinski.
Absent.
Delegate Dave Corbin.
Absent.
Delegate Terry Ryan. Delegate Joe Gaggs.
Yes.
Delegate David Doan. Delegate Harry Miller. Delegate Joe Martin.
Absent.
Delegate Greg Palmer.
Do we have any alternates? Do we have any alternates?
Raj Pillai.
Raj Pillai. But he's alternate for Plainfield, so we've already got that.
We'd like to get everybody in the audience or introduce themselves. But we got new people or we don't know who they are. So we just want to get an idea of what post you're from or.
Good afternoon, Rick Wolanowski from Post 392, Edgerton.
Rick, can you spell your last name, please, sir?
B as in boy, O-L-A-M-O-W-S-K-I.
And I'm sorry, what post are you with, sir?
Post 392.
We've also got Patty and Mark Tucker in the back with the Narcan kits. Is there anything you'd like to tell us about?
Sure. So I work for the Substance Use Initiative of Will County, And what we do is we work around all of Will County, and we hand out pamphlets, and we also hand out Narcan, which is a reversal of an overdose, because we have such a large epidemic with opioids and fentanyl. And it's been recorded as of the 6th of June, we lost 12 people to overdose deaths with, which is fentanyl related. So we're just here to reach out to everyone and anyone. If they need help, we're here to help them.
Thank you. And can I have both of your names? Can you spell them out, please?
Patty, Patty, Tucker, Tucker, and Mark Tucker.
And the name of your organization again?
It's Substance Use Initiatives of Will County.
Thank you. And we have a few others that are either first-time attendees or guests.
Well, I'm not a first time, but I just signed up as a delegate, so I guess that makes me an alternate for, King Ticket Force 367 in Joliet. I'm Jim Claus.
Your rep,
Lou Smith.
Lou Smith is normally your delegate.
So you're the alternate.
Yeah, it's down.
Okay, so you're all.
So he's also our, he was reelected our postal manager.
Yeah.
I'm Robert Angone, Act Post 935. I'll be taking over for John in what, November, you said? In November.
Robert,
new delegate. New delegate,
you're the alternate right now. And what's the post number?
935.
AL, DFW? American
American
Legion,
Legion.
535, you said? 935. Thank you. And
But this is my first meeting, and I wish to welcome all of you here to our folks.
thank you, Bob.
We are offering a drink to anybody that wants one. So,
Thank you, Bob. We'd be remiss if we didn't.
Who's the delegate from 935 normally? Who is the primary delegate? You're the primary?
Yeah, I was, but I'm stepping down.
Okay, so you're his alternate.
I'm not really alternate, he's gonna be.
Okay.
Okay. And we have a few more people present.
Good evening, board. I'm County Auditor Duffy Blackburn, here with Deputy Auditor Ken.
And I'm sorry, I didn't catch your deputy's name.
Kathy Pleasant.
Yeah, Pleasant, thank you. Is everybody in the room?
Got everybody covered?
Everybody else has a name
Right. The rest are all tagged ready.
So, Mr. President, we have 10 voting members present.
So that's quorum. I don't know how we count delegates.
Well, that's right, we have 10 voting members and 1 alternate. Rick Volansky, 392, who is your normal delegate? Are you the delegate? So we have both the delegate and the alternate, so only 1 vote for each organization, just FYI. So it's actually 11, 10, 11, 12. Because Jim Clausen is here as a voting member as well. We have 12 voting members.
That's a question. We have to have a quorum. So we don't. So
We don't have quorum.
why don't we have a quorum?
We're counting delegates.
We're counting delegates, then we don't have quorum.
The bylaws state that we have a quorum if we have a majority of quorum of the executive board plus 2 delegates.
Thank you for clarifying.
Basic clarification, because it was a question at the last meeting.
I appreciate your question, and I'm glad we were all clear.
Clarify further.
All right, we have a quorum. The minutes of the previous meeting were available to everybody, and I think they were also emailed, most of them.
Move to accept.
Second. Discussion.
Anybody got any discussion on the minutes? Question? We have a motion and a second.
I've got two things. Two things. In the minutes, section 7C, incomplete sentence, discussion, who states she is? She is what?
Sorry, could you repeat the sentence?
It is a good possibility that she was either cut off or it wasn't recorded. So we can't, it's not audible.
Yeah, we're having a problem with motions and questions. There's too much jibber jabber in between. If somebody motions or anything, would they please state their name at least, so we can get it on the record. Question?
Yes, William Sutton, Plainfield American Legion, our delegate. Are we going over the May 10th or the May 17th?
May 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah, same answer, same question. Section 8, section C, again, an incomplete sentence. It says, the last mistakes per last meeting, we are going to go through Will County, states we, and it ends.
Incomplete sentence. Again, I don't know if that's just a tape. But I don't know what we should do with that.
Well, we have a recording, we can verify.
Okay.
Yeah, we can verify, and then if she was cut off, then we'll write in there something indicating that the sentence was not completed, so it doesn't
Right.
look like it just wasn't done.
Right,
Yeah,
on
so
both
we'll make
of
note of
these.
that for future minutes.
Okay. Okay, had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we're going to go into the superintendent's report.
Mr. President, could we restate the names of those who made the motion and the second?
Yes, we did.
Wayne.
Wayne Hart.
Wayne and Amanda.
Yeah, we've been a little lax on that as far as taking it hard on the secretary.
Point of order question, how come we have minutes for 17 May, but it's not on the agenda?
That was intended to be added to the agenda. Problem is, we did this agenda 2 weeks ago before we left for the appointment. They were all mailed out while we were in San Antonio.
Okay.
So if we have the ability to approve the past May 17 open meeting minutes, the agendas, the minutes are available.
Well, the Open Meetings Act requires that we approve the minutes within 30 days. We approved the last meeting, regular meeting, but the 30 days is not, can be extended to the next regularly scheduled meeting, so that's, we just pass that to the next meeting.
So we're just doing the test.
Thank you.
17th will be at the next meeting. Okay, let's now go to the superintendent report.
All right, so, you can see the award log in this very well organized packet. Thank you, Anna. Number 3. Again, these are the gross awards that we've received since 2015. You can see them broken down by year. 2022, obviously, we're just barely halfway through, looking pretty good at being on par. Since we do not have a direct link with the VA for receiving award letters, we're pretty much relying on either our individual service officers doing an audit on their old claims, or the veterans coming in and telling us when they got a decision made so we can add it to the support log. So as the year goes through, we not only get new awards, but we learn old awards, and that increases the number as well. So being at 2.6 for 2022 new awards is not really off par for the 2.4, 2.5 in 2022. As you can see, we're still increasing our numbers pretty steadily. And on another note there, since I took over as the interim superintendent, I have not been updating the award log as much as I was able to because I'm not working with as many veterans to get their updates. So at some point, I will go through and do my own audit and add my claims to it. So does anybody have questions about the award log?
Hey, David.
Yes.
How come you can't get it done?
Get what done?
Updating?
I update as much as I can, but we keep very busy at the VAC. We keep very busy. It's nonstop.
I understand that you're supposed to, but why can't you keep it up? That's what I'm asking. Is there someone else, one of the other employees that can do that?
Yes, and he is. But individual service officers keeping it up is what really makes it as accurate as we can possibly make it. So Greg does what he can from his side, but in the end, the veterans, if they call me or don't call me, then I don't get the name on the award log.
Is this a problem in the past?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same problem we've always had. The only difference is I've been able to schedule set time aside and constantly update my award log as I do more claims in-person appointments with veterans. I don't have that opportunity now as much as I used to, so my awards are not being updated as much as they used to be when I was just strictly doing VSO work.
You're still doing VSO work?
Yes, I am.
Why?
Because we have appointments out to July 27th, and I believe that's unacceptable. So if I can help to take the burden off of some of our VSOs, I'm gonna do that.
I don't find that acceptable. It's, if you're gonna be the superintendent, you're gonna be the superintendent. If you're not gonna be the superintendent, then go back to being the VSO. And we'll get, as soon as we get the old superintendent, take care of this issue for you. But you need to keep up on what the superintendent has to do. And that's part of the report. It's expected that you will keep up with it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other comment? Any other questions?
Okay.
All right, so moving.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes.
So, I think.
You can't be heard, Janet. You
I'm
gotta
sorry.
speak up.
So I think the work Eric is doing currently is outstanding because he is doing more than one job, so things are
We don't want to do one job, Jan.
things that are
He's the
gonna fall by-
superintendent.
Can I finish speaking? So, things are gonna fall by the wayside. And, what we want to do is offer Eric the support that if you do need extra help, or if there is a way we can somehow help you to, organize your day or work week so that you can get the log, because the log is important. Then we're, happy to do it.
Good, thank you. Right, project,
Excuse me.
yes, oh, sorry, Hope.
William Sutton again from Plainfield. According to the Military Veterans Assistance Act, I get that superintendent, you want to be superintendent, and that's it. But according to this law, he has to also file claims. If he doesn't file claims, he's breaking the law.
I didn't ask for a question for the audit.
He did.
The
It
5184.
doesn't change what I said.
Oh, no, I'm
We
just-
expect him
just
to be
like-
superintendent, that's what,
Say again?
we expect him to be the superintendent. That doesn't mean.
So you expect him to break the law?
He doesn't have time to do this.
So he's supposed to break the law?
Not breaking the law, he's a superintendent, he doesn't have to be the VSO. They have to be done. I don't know what you're confused about, because I'm not.
We'll agree to disagree, sir.
Well, I don't think there's any disagreement, that's just the way it is.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
Project 150.
Yeah, Project 150. At the beginning of the month, we had 8 veterans in the hotel. We have since gotten the majority of them housed with other organizations. We are down to 3 as of today. Several of them are with Midwest Shelter, Friends and Family. We've made it clear to the other organizations in the COC that our funding for the hotel is finite. We do have enough in there to last, but if we want to make that last, we needed more help from them in opening up their beds that are available instead of automatically sending them to us. So in doing that, we went from 8 to 3 because the beds were available elsewhere. Why are they with us if we have a finite funding and they have brick and mortar place that they can put people? So they all agree, they're happy to help, and they want our program to continue as long as possible because we are a quick, immediate action service for homeless veterans. And it's been quite successful, and a lot of the organizations are willing to do anything they can to help us extend that and make sure that we help our vets. Emergency shelter, we have currently spent $119,000, and we have $30,000 left in the account. Any questions on the Project 150?
I have one question. So, the 30,000 there, does that?
Speak louder.
I thought this was left. The $30,000 left in the account, is that to last us to the end of the year?
That will not last us to the end of the year.
No, but that's whatever's left in the account is supposed to last.
It's gonna last us as long as it can last us. It was a grant for emergency funding for COVID. So COVID is winding down as of today, maybe. So everybody knows it's a finite resource, it's a grant, it's not something that we can maintain. It's not one of our annual programs funded by the county. All right, for financial assistance, this month we put out $1,400. You can see the financial assistance report. And I think that's number 5. Financial assistance report, which gives the breakdown of the numbers that are on the agenda. $1,400 for shelter, $235 for gas, $322.81 electric, $144 for water, $200 for personal projects, personal products. No food because everybody's on link. So there's a successful use of other people's money.
Question, so LIHEAP is all done for the year?
For the year, yes.
Okay, and when does it open back up again, October?
I believe, yeah, it's October.
Okay.
October it opens for people with disabilities, senior citizens. November is if you have children. December is open for everybody. So it goes, it staggers.
Okay. Thank you.
And moving on to our marketing, we really started.
Actually, we need, if You're done with financial assistance.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you wanted the marketing in there as well, as a single superintendent's report and then approve the whole thing.
Marketing isn't,
We're not gonna vote on the update, but we do wanna vote on your,
Report.
report, so I'll make a motion to approve the superintendent's report.
second.
So second.
Williams, second.
Thank you.
Here we have a motion on the floor.
Question,
Question?
does that include the award log?
Yes.
BBC. Okay.
Is there a further discussion?
Just a question.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
One nay. Motion carries. Okay, outreach. Okay. Facebook outreach.
Yeah, okay, we just started updating the Facebook page about a month ago, so I thought it'd be, good to see what it's like with the VAC staff managing the Facebook page. As you can see through the reports, obviously our numbers are way up, but up until we started managing it, it was pretty much only had a couple of auto-generated posts, so we weren't expecting anything much from that. Since this, I started working with the Instagram. Not really the media mogul, so I'm still learning what exactly Instagram was. I had to ask my kids. He's only 10, but he knew better than I did. So you'll see the numbers on Facebook page. The numbers are going up. You can see the demographics, majority in Joliet, second in Chicago. Our outreach is up 1,100%. And new likes up 140%. And those are actually going up today even more. So any questions on the, yes?
I do have a question. I have a question.
Thank you.
I see the cities listed here. Are these self-generated? So if someone from Moni liked the page, they would appear on this?
Yeah, these just come with the Facebook business account.
Right. So
You can run reports.
do we share the Facebook? Because I know I share with all of my, all the East Hill County cities. So do we share our Facebook page with other posts around the county?
Our Facebook page is exclusively for the VAC. We do follow other organizations. They follow us. They share our information that we post.
So it might be an idea, and it's just something I've done for whenever I see a VAC post, I'll share it with all of the American Legion posts that I can, with the cities that have American Legion in it and auxiliary. And it might be an idea to follow all of the Legion posts, instead it will automatically pop up on their
Right.
page, and they can then share it.
Yes, as they pop up, I'm hitting
Yeah.
follow to
So I think
all the ones I
if
recognize.
we
Yeah.
can maybe contact our posts, and I know we don't have a good response to that, but in my world, the more you reach out, the more it's just gonna trickle back, but it will come back. And so, that's why I was surprised that Moni or Pearson or Stager were on there, because I share them every time we get one. So I think it's about connecting them. It's about connecting the VAC with those other pages, because then it might generate more likes on the page.
Janet, also, if somebody self-reports that their city is Chicago, just because they don't wanna get
Yeah,
into what
exactly.
suburbs,
Yeah.
that's probably why you see so much Chicago on here.
Yeah.
So also, I wanted to chime in, because I do understand SEO, search engine optimization, and one of the things with SEO is this is kind of misleading, the Facebook basic algorithm reporting, because this is single likes, but this isn't actual engagements. So I think that's kind of what Janet is aiming at. For the engagements would be posting onto another's page, or having them post on our page and respond back, or having them somebody from their page respond to the post that we put on there. That's an engagement, and that's a different matrix, and it significantly changes the whole algorithm. It changes the reach. I don't know firsthand, because I don't Insta or Snap or any of that, but my understanding is Instagram works on the same algorithm, on the same SEO algorithm, being owned by Facebook. So some of the other pieces of data that can be captured, which are actually much more significant in telling of what exactly is going on, is getting the engagements, not just the likes, but getting the engagements. And you can schedule your posts so that they will post to those other pages
Right.
on automatically. The part that I think that requires that interaction, that personal interaction, is getting the other pages, the other Facebook pages or social media stuff from these other entities, that they can set it up so that we have permission to post on their page, and it'll actually ride the page. It'll sit on top of the page, and it won't show up in some secondary place.
Okay. Yeah, our engagements are through the roof right now. I didn't put that in the report because I actually can find that in the reports where it just said the number of engagements, other than a list of our posts and number of engagements, and just kind of one right after another lined up. So instead of printing all of that out, which probably would have taken 10 pages, I didn't include that already.
But I think that there is a way to drill down in that data. I'm not sure, there used to be, but they change this stuff all of the time. But there used to be a way to drill down into that data and actually pull those numbers. Amanda, do you know better?
I kind of do. I have a couple questions about this. So I think it's great that we're actually doing something with Facebook. Thank you very much, because I feel like it was really on an upward trend for a while, and then we kind of, through all the chaos, kind of lost it. So awesome job. Eric, are you the one that's posting?
Yes.
I feel like that's too much, just with all the other stuff you're doing, right? So that's something that I want us to reconsider. I realize you're the subject matter expert. I would love to have somebody else on the staff that's not only posting, but is also going to other pages like the PS1 American Legion as the VAC and commenting on their posts. Because once we start becoming a person on the internet, that would really help us to start boosting our algorithm for our page. And that is, you making a post is one thing, but actually commenting and liking and sharing other people's posts, that's a lot of work. So I'm just saying out loud to my fellow board members, we probably want to get somebody on our staff, and I would ask our staff who the best person for that would be, to really take this Facebook stuff and run with it, right? Because we can't increase our word log if we don't get new veterans in, right? So I like the idea of us really being somebody being, I don't want to say full-time Facebook, right? But at least spending an hour or two a day going through liking stuff and all these other things.
So if I can, Anna Marie, am I mistaken? But I thought that was going to be part of one of those things that you were going to do as part of your executive assistant. I thought I remembered conversations about
Walk
that.
before we can run.
But what I was going to say is that's a whole nother level of stuff.
Right.
For you to, that's another lift and that's another learning curve for you.
Sure.
And I recognize that. So I think that we do have the staff member identified and that's something coming up. What I do want to push back a little bit. An hour or two a day is a little excessive.
Well, between Facebook
Facebook.
and Instagram, and if we do any Twitter or anything,
It could be
easily
that
be
much,
an hour a day,
but
easily.
I'm thinking it's more like maybe 2 to 3 hours a week, scheduling posts to happen and scheduling things to happen, and then
interacting with people.
and interacting after that.
I have no problem doing it. We did pay for a VIP all-day training that wasn't done because of COVID, so maybe we could have Marianne come back in and sit with her for a day to show
would be
her all
great.
of the ins and the outs. That would probably be very helpful.
Does somebody
because-
from the staff want to reach out to her and find out how much that would cost?
No, we already paid
We
for
already
it.
paid
You've already paid for it?
What, and the contract was for how long for that to go on? I don't recall.
That was in 2020 that we paid for it.
Yeah.
Right.
That wasn't part of the current one, or the most recent one, that was a separate.
All right, so we may not be able to rely on that past contract, so
There was no
Yeah.
contract, it was just a payment.
that was the payment, that was all part of it, but how long were those services to continue, that staff training?
I don't know.
And that's the reason I'm asking that, because it is 2 years now, so my question would be, is
Memory
that?
serves it was gonna be a 1-day training.
Yeah,
I remember.
so I
it.
don't
Yeah.
know that we can get that, we can
Well, we can
dip in
find
that
out.
well, but
Yes.
maybe this is something that, Eric, if you can take a little bit of time, carve out a little bit of time and show Anna Marie
Yeah.
what that training was, so then it's something further off your plates.
Initially, I just wanted to get on the VAC Facebook page to get something active on. So we
Yeah.
started posting general benefits information, and the response, we've had more 3,000 plus engagements with our posts in the last month than we've had in the past year or two.
I think
Just
our-
because we're posting real good quality content that people want to learn and pass and share on.
I also
So-
think that the recognition that the economy is going very fast in a downward trend is going to impact that, and that's a great thing to capture. It's a great timing on that, and thank you for doing it. But going back to Wayne's concern before, we want you to, superintendent, and take off what we can.
We are managing very well at the office, as well as we can. So, I mean, we'll start reaching out more I'll work with Anna more on, doing more engagements with other Facebook organizations. And, I'll just basically post the general information and little tidbit of knowledge. Seems to go over pretty well.
Thank you.
All right, so,
No motion passed.
yeah, that's more of an update, not really anything, so I don't think we need a motion to approve that. All right, moving on to new business. Sorry, I'm excited about the webpage.
Yeah, you're up.
All right, so in the packet, you'll also see there is an invoice from Alpha Media, number 7. This is the company that we had actually initially paid to design a website for the VAC. It went active for about a week and then was cut. So the website, we reached back out to them. The website is still there. We still have the domain. Everything's built, just needs to be updated. And the cost of them maintaining it is $50 a month. Yeah, with no creation or paying for domain. So that's what the Alpha Media in there is for.
So then we own that website, and we own the contents.
Yes, and we are able to update directly. The VAC is directly able to update the website. Yes.
Is this gonna be, like hyperlinked to the county website, like when we look up the different departments?
Yes.
So we won't have that page on there anymore, we'll actually have something better.
We can do both. I mean,
I would like to just do one, just for simplicity's sake, but have the county website bring you right to this one that we're actually gonna maintain. Because the one on the county website, we're not, right? And that's how we're getting in trouble.
are now.
Because we have one that we're maintaining and one that we're not, and so on and so forth. So we might have to connect with the county and just find out how, when you click on Veterans Assistance Commission, it would bring us right to this address that we're paying for. You know what I mean?
I've actually been in close contact with Nina Campbell at the county, and she's actually set up a folder, a file for us, a joint file, where if we need to post anything on the county site, we just pull it into that file, I shoot her an email, and it's up as soon as she can get to it. Now, I definitely understand the need for OMA to be managed by staff, because it's taken over a week to get, updates posted from when I send it to them to when it goes out for whatever reason.
I'm sure that they can override it going to their page instead of the landing place being theirs. They own
Well-
the VAC, it just goes right to this.
I think that the idea, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but Eric, what you're saying is we are owning that website, we're directly updating the website. So the hyperlink that's gonna live on the county website is going to continuously track back to our currently
Yes.
updated website. We're not asking the county to do any of those anymore.
Right, and just as of right now, since we don't have a website, we have been updating the county's website.
We've been attempting to update the county's website, but it's
A lot
not
better.
our website to update, which has been the problem. Thank you for solving that.
Yes, so the question on hand is just approval of $50 a month for
I would
maintaining.
like to make a motion to approve the $50 ongoing monthly website hosting and maintenance fee to Alpha Media.
Second, Cook?
I have a question.
Questions?
I have a question. So the domain name, we own it outright, whether we pay for that annually.
No, I don't believe so. This is
So one of
what they
them,
gave
there's
us.
no other thing.
We
Yep.
already paid for
Yeah.
it previously, so it's already paid done for, now it's just the monthly maintenance moving forward.
Right, so my question was there any more, any other cost incurred?
No, ma'am, we already paid it upfront.
Okay, thank you, and I gotta follow on that question. When you buy a website, the domain name, do we buy it in perpetuity or is it gonna be an annual?
From my understanding, it was a month payment upfront, but I'll verify, I'll reach out to Jessica tomorrow.
Need to make sure, cause, yeah, that would be.
I'm
You know,
surprised, from the quote that she gave us, it was just the $50 moving forward, because we did already pay for it upfront a few years ago, but I'll get that in writing from her, just to make sure and send it out, that it's $50 as if we don't have the annual fee or anything.
and that means we own, well, the reason I'm asking about this is if we own the domain name and something happened with Alpha Media, then we can then
I
have
see,
somebody
right,
else do it.
right.
That's the reason
I'll
I'm
reach out to
asking
her.
specifics.
I'll reach out to her tomorrow, or Erin will.
The second page in the Alpha Media under number 7, just goes a breakdown of the months and the charges, so you can see exactly how much we're being charged
Still
until
have a question.
May of '23.
Since it's our domain, we're responsible for the content, correct?
Yes,
Who specifically is responsible for doing that?
that'd be mainly Anna once it gets up and running.
Just checking to see if that was another dude you were taking on. Okay.
Motion on the floor, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, next is the review of the budget. Pretty simple, nothing changed in the budget except I did request a cost of living increase for the employees minus myself, as well as we doubled the vehicle expenses because we now have 2 vehicles instead of 1, so.
2 questions. What's the percentage of the COLA
The COLA is,
that
I
you
think
have,
they said it at
that you put in here?
I think it's 6.8. Yeah, but that's coming from Social Security.
Right, so the next question then is you doubled the vehicle, you doubled the vehicle, budget. Does that take into account current gas prices?
No, it doesn't. So we can increase by a percentage of, what, last year was about $3?
Yeah,
Doubled.
so it's double.
All right, so we'll have to run that by the county board with, or
So-
by the,
If you double the expenses, then we only drive one vehicle.
yeah, that's
Not
true.
drivable.
We only drive 1
Yeah.
vehicle at a time.
Right, but gas for that 1 vehicle is twice as much as it was. And now we have 2 vehicles, so our gas expenditure is going to be quadrupled.
Why do we have to do that?
Yeah.
We already doubled it.
You're only doing one.
Yeah. we're only-
I think double is fair.
Are you expecting to drive more miles in the car this week and keep both vehicles together this year than we did last year?
Probably not.
It's just that one holds more people, or
Yeah,
you make the determination based on what you haul.
right.
And did we spend all of the money in the budget last year?
We did not, so it will accommodate for a part of that.
My recommendation is to leave it as is.
I can't hear you.
We can, my recommendation is to leave it as is, and then we'll review it again in, say, 3 months to see if
Double,
you need to purchase.
double with 2 vehicles.
You said you don't, I mean, leave it with the double vehicle.
Yes,
Or the-
okay, that's
And
just
how
clarity,
about the gas
just clarity.
prices? I'm recommending leaving it as we've recommended it, with double the vehicle budget and a COLA increase. And we'll review the gas prices and how it's affected the budget in whatever period of time you want to. Because we don't know, so we just have to.
And yeah, with it being a volatile market, we always have the ability to transfer funds from one specific account to another if we do need it. So we have a contingency for that as well. God forbid gas goes up much higher, but it's
Why
going
did you even say that out loud?
I have a question, and honestly, I do a lot of things, and I also look at the county budget in another place, so have we seen, like a line by line, category by category list of the budget?
Of ours?
Yeah,
Yes, we have direct access to that through.
have the eyes,
You can come in and
Has
we
the
can show it
board
to you
number?
through
because
D365.
I am honestly not super comfortable voting on this budget request without seeing more details as a board member here.
Okay.
Now, my other question though is, when do we have to have this voted on and passed forward by? Because I know that we're on a tight timetable on the other side.
The closing for that is, do you remember,
So,
July?
correct, so then if you wanna come to the office, we can show you D365, and we can print it out for you, or we can print it up and email it to you, whichever is easier. D365 is a live view and it's interactive, so you can go in each line item. Or we can print it up in an Excel sheet and email it out, but it does need to be voted on, so if we don't do it today, we probably have to have a special.
So 2 questions here, as a possibility.
Good, I didn't hear.
I know, she's saying that, you wanna repeat, you gotta speak loud.
So you can come into the office and we can walk you through D365, that's the accounting software that the county uses, and it's a live version, I'm sure Kathy can speak to it as well. We can show you line by line, or we can print it up on an Excel sheet and email it to you for review.
Yeah,
So-
you emailing it seems to be easier.
We can also do a WebEx meeting, and I can walk it through you live, and you can see it real time with me, whatever is easiest.
I just like to compare it to the last one. But, I still have a question about how do we have 2 buses?
Say again?
Why do we have 2 buses?
We received a grant last year that paid for a second vehicle.
But we only drive one at a time, right?
One at a time,
There's
for the
never
most,
2 on the
for
road.
the most part, but if one's down, that puts a lot of our veterans in a bad
Right,
situation.
but, so the mileage is gonna be the same or? up
For the
or
most
down?
part, yes.
So the one van we was, purchased specifically for the ESG outreach program, and we had Randy because they were supposed to be driving out to the community, and that was separate from our regular driver who takes everybody to their appointments. Since we no longer have the outreach provider, that van's not being used.
And line by line, the, budget is exactly the same as it was last year, with the exception of the 2 mentioned changes.
Trust but verify.
I'm happy to, push this forward because I know we're on a time crunch, and I know why. But in the future, for next year, I would love to see some more detailed reporting on this stuff. Just because I think it's important as we get new people on the board and so on, that they all understand how this all works. And it's gonna take looking at it a few times to really get it.
Perhaps we can have that, the line by line budget just to look at the next meeting, even though we're gonna vote on it tonight, if that's the.
Well, and I think what would be nice too is if we had that Excel spreadsheet and then board members do have questions, that will help us in our basis for understanding next year, right? Because we're looking at it every year.
I agree, but I think it has to be given out to the entire board as it's an agenda.
Okay.
So we can't just come in.
Right, well,
So the parliamentary, I'm sorry, go ahead, Wayne.
It has to be voted on tonight, because I didn't hear, is that what you were saying?
It does, just to get it to the county in time.
So we're on the deadline.
Right, otherwise we have to have a special meeting.
Or we have to have a special
We'll
meeting.
probably have one anyway, so. I have a few.
So, yeah, here's a, and this is a, I don't know, we've got, you know, ASA Wise, perhaps, or Amanda, I don't know who would be able to answer this question, but we voted on budget tonight, we approved the budget as is, with as little detail in it as it is. Then let's say next month we decide there's something in the budget we don't like and we want to change. Can we change the budget? Technically, yes.
I don't see why not.
Does that, after it's been submitted to the county, we can change the budget if that, I'm just trying to make certain that that's
They changed.
We're not locked in.
potential is accommodated, if that's,
Well, we've already agreed that if with the gas prices, if we review it in 3 months, if they need more money, we've already agreed that we're gonna go back and look at that.
we can always request an increase
I
through the
don't see
board.
why we can't.
or a
Or
change in the budget.
We can request a change in the budget through the board.
When does it have to be submitted by?
Before our next meeting in July.
July.
Do it tonight.
July.
I don't know, do you have the
July
exact
for the
date?
county, because then they start doing the workshops for the summer and it gets passed in, October.
Do we have a date in July?
This is my feeling is that, because we haven't changed it, I'm sure it's probably a nice little budget. I'm just requesting like a little workshop so that the board members can all understand better. Is that?
I agree with that.
Would you like to do a WebEx and then we can sit, so everybody has their other computer with me and we can walk through live, and then if you have any questions, you can see it real time. Would that be helpful
That
for
would be
everybody?
required to go
But
in. That would be only required.
I think that we should just try to, just be able to present it on a screen or something somewhere. And even if it's at our next meeting, I just think this is something that I would have liked to see more detail, so let's just start to have it.
I would have included more detail, other than it's the exact same as last year, so I figured.
Right.
So my apologies, next year I'll make sure that, whoever the superintendent is, does more detail.
Thank you.
So for right now,
Yes.
Yeah, Rashawn Howard, the Will County Budget Director, communicated an end of June deadline for submission of budgets. So July would be appropriate. And this is helpful. This is actually coming from a Excel Microsoft program that's integrated. So there are extra sheets that link, and you can dive into the rest of this stuff. So it does, this sheet here has all the linked numbers that they've gone through.
That's what I want, yeah.
And then also just a recommendation, you should, pay particular attention to the sheets that will show you, which are included with their work, past, so the past years, current year to date, requested and then approved. But approved will be not
Later.
filled in yet.
Yeah. Thank you.
thank you very much.
I'm looking for a finance committee workshop here, and I think I'm asking too much. Okay. So I'm gonna make a motion to approve this budget request.
I'll second that, Janet Blue.
Okay, we have a motion. Second. Pass this. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Right, next up is just, we have a $30,000 FEMA grant, which is going towards the hotel.
So we received the first payment, 15,000. FEMA does it in 2 payments. They will pay ahead the first half. I submit a report. I think we went over this last month. What we have left for ESG, I'm anticipating will get us through right now, if the trends stay where they are through the fall. So with FEMA, again, I'm anticipating this should carry us through mid to late 2023. Any questions?
Yeah, 2 first. The ESG, does that have, that has to be spent by the end of the year?
It was extended to 2023.
That one was extended
Yes.
as well to
Correct.
2023?
Correct.
And that's all I need to know, thank you. We're safe.
I'll make a motion to approve the FEMA grant award fiscal year 2022.
Second.
Second, Need. Motion on.
Williams, second.
Thank you.
Williams. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, and the last item on new business is the new FOIAs that we received. We did receive 3 in total. 2 of them were actually requesting our employees' personal cell phones. One was from Jerry Ann, and the other one was from an anonymous email. Those have been dealt with, and there's no follow-up there. The third was the Attorney General, which had an pretty extensive one. We did put together the packet and were able to submit a response to that FOIA. Again, no response is a good response as of right now, so we have not heard anything back since we submitted.
What's the date that you submitted the
What's that?
response? The date you submitted?
That was the AG?
The AG response?
Yeah, the AG was right before we went to
That would have been June 3rd. Yeah.
June 3rd.
It was June 3rd? Okay, they have 30 days to respond. Just as an FYI, it's not,
Yeah.
so far no news is good news, but just FYI.
The AG was very accommodating, very understanding. So if there's anything missing, I wouldn't be surprised if it was responded with a phone call. Hey, can you send us this? We noticed this was missing. Sure, and there it is.
Okay.
So that's going pretty smooth. I think we've made friends there.
Good.
Question?
Question?
Yes.
I didn't hear you.
How many man hours have we put in on this?
I have not calculated. It's that many.
You have to keep track.
Okay.
Because at some point, this is excessive. It's unnecessary, and it's leading nowhere. At least not to my knowledge. So keep track of the hours.
All right, we'll do from now on.
So, I have a question too. You said 3 FOIAs were filed for employees' personal?
2
Or
were
2
for
personal?
employees' personal. One
Cell
was from
phone.
Jerry. Yeah. One was from Jerry Ann. The other one was from an anonymous emailer.
You don't answer those.
We
FOIA
have
is
to.
a
It's a
FOIA.
FOIA.
You have to answer them.
For personal information.
Well, you don't.
Well,
have to
Yeah, it
give
should
them
better
the
not be
day after
answered.
You may not, they may not get the answer they want, but they have to be responded to,
I'm
yes.
quite certain they didn't get the
It's
answer.
just an exemption.
Right. So,
If business is discussed over personal phones, I think it's worded in the good of the public information or business, then that is FOIAble, even on a personal cell phone. However, there was none. And that was after a thorough review. I think we even contacted the phone company to see if we could just verify by looking through deleted text messages. They don't hold them. So the best we could do is just a
What
log
is the
of,
purpose of this? What is the purpose? Do we not have to know some purpose?
nope.
We need a legal
we
opinion.
just have to
Well, legally,
respond.
we have to
I
respond.
need a legal opinion.
Legal
At
opinion,
some point, at some
ASA
point,
wise?
this has become excessive.
What's the question? The law is quite generous on what becomes excessive. You have to do a heck of a lot more than what's been done now, I'll tell you
He doesn't even know how many hours we spent on it.
that. It's got nothing to do with hours.
It's
The
interrupting
law
the
says
business.
that that's one of the primary responsibilities of a
I
public body.
understand that. I've read it several times too. I understand that, but it's interfering with and Eric obviously doesn't have enough time in the day to do his job. So
And
that
these
must be
are-
interfering, there must be some consideration for that.
These
You
are
can't
all-
shut down just because somebody wants somebody's phone number.
So I have a question for legal opinion. My understanding of the FOIAs of OMA is, or FOIAs, I guess it's OMA specific, is, and it relates to FOIAs, so that if FOIAs are considered to be excessive, harassing, or what's the third term there? That there is a penalty that can be applied, and it's $1,500 per and up to 30 days in jail per. But
These FOIAs are all coming from different places. This is not the original FOIA. This is not a follow-up of the original FOIA.
well, how do we know if one of them is anonymous?
Are we gonna find the first?
Honestly, I think that we're spinning out into Feuerland because we have to respond to it.
Right.
We can't not.
Wait a second.
It doesn't matter how many hours Eric spends on it, he's got to do it.
That makes a difference. Anyone can request public documents. But they're not supposed to be used to further commercial enterprise, violate individual privacy, disrupt the day-to-day working of the public body. Government agencies must either comply with or deny a written request for public records within 5 working days. So we can deny it. And if it goes to litigation, as I understand it, then we may have to comply with some particular request for the document. But it sounds like individual privacy is being disrupted if you ask them for phone numbers.
Sounds like day-to-day workings of the entity.
It certainly sounds that way to me.
But we can't
If you
answer
haven't
those.
got enough time in the day to do your responsibilities, then there's something wrong. We're spending too much time.
I mean, this is starting to feel excessive, but honestly, I agree, unfortunately, I don't think that we've gone over the limit, right? The best practice, like Janet said, is just to go through and find that information, and if there is anything, send it along, and if there's not, say, hey, we looked, and we don't have anything to send along, and be done with it.
I think we need to be saying we don't have any information. Well,
That's what the two,
That was what he said.
that's what the two FOIAs were, for the personal information. We don't have
You
any.
still have to look.
Yeah,
You
that's
can say
just
that, but you still
legally
have to
bound to look.
So
Yeah.
that's-
quick looker.
We looked and there was nothing there, so those were easy. The one from the AG was the one that took the most effort.
Which was
Actually, I think that's probably the only one that really had any, yes.
Yeah, and it is. The others we just responded to. We have nothing that fits your criteria of what you're looking for. Throughout a couple of legalese entities with that, but the two were, what is it, adolescent at best. So we didn't have to put much time or effort into the two that were asking for the individual private phone content, because that's a no-brainer. There's nothing there. They're not getting it.
Deference to the attorney, Wise. Is my statement incorrect? We don't have to worry about that until there is litigation?
I don't think that we should wait till litigation to get serious about FOIA.
I'm not suggesting that we do, I'm saying we can deny it. Is that true or not?
We can deny it for certain reasons, but one of them, it's just inconvenient for my office, is not a valid reason. Sorry, but it isn't.
I didn't say it was inconvenient. I said it's interfering with day-to-day operations.
As far as I know, there isn't
Interfering
any
with privacy.
section of the FOIA Act that says it's interference with the day-to-day operations. There is one called voluminous. If it's too voluminous, then we can, and even then, it's not that you deny it, it's that you get more time. So,
Or you get
the charge, not for the paper. I had 18,000 pieces of paper one time that was determined by the court to not be voluminous when I was the
It
FOIA
would be
officer
for
for
us.
the
I don't care
FAA.
what would happen in another court case.
It wouldn't be.
It would be for us too.
So can we look at the other side of it? I'm not unhappy with the FOIAs that we're getting, because people want information. If they want it, let's give it. I mean, I don't see the issue with adhering to a law that says.
I'm not suggesting, I don't know where you got that idea, I'm not suggesting we don't adhere to the law. I'm merely suggesting that it interferes with the day-to-day operations, then we need to do something else about it.
I believe that we should just keep on going and give people the information they're looking for if we have it.
So you have no excuse for not doing your reports properly.
Nice.
You don't need a motion for that?
No, that's just an update. Anything more on the FOIAs?
All right. We're now moving on to old business. First item is the approval of the executive board appointment of Judge Advocate Lisa Purvis.
I will make a motion to approve.
I will second that, Janet Blue.
Motion on the floor. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Lisa is approved. The next item is the approval of the executive board selection of the law firm. Any discussion, question?
Yeah, why isn't he here?
Why does he have?
We have the contract? Is
We
it
have a new
signed?
contract.
And is it signed?
I didn't sign it yet.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept the selection of the law firm and Jack Picolo's signature on it.
Second, Cook.
I don't have any problem with it, I just wanna know why he isn't here to answer any questions that we might have as we're going forward. I'm still curious about why he donated money to State's Attorney Glasgow the day after he sent the contract over. I'm still curious about that, I haven't got an answer to it yet.
Paul O'Grady?
Oh, yes, Paul O'Grady.
Okay.
We may never. Anyone else sign it and get it to him tomorrow. Basically was the same, except Eric's name was replaced by myself. Question?
Yes, is the contract gonna be presented to everybody on the board? So we all can review it?
Once it's signed.
He has a right to see it.
Oh, okay.
I'm a delegate, I have just
Right,
much power.
no, I mean, I don't know if it was before or after signed, I don't know
No,
if that
before.
matters.
I think it was sent over.
It was emailed out.
The last,
It was emailed to the executive, not
I think at the
everybody.
last meeting. We got it on the handout, but.
I saw it in the handout, but I really honestly can't remember when.
Maybe it's on the 17th.
Right, that's what I'm wondering.
I think it was at the next session.
And I saw an email with it as well, but again, I didn't look at the whole list, so.
There's no reason we can't let
Just going out
Bill
before.
see. No,
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine.
Why should I? Yeah.
I'm just saying, I personally can't remember when I did see it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure it's makes sense.
Well, I don't have it. Jack does.
It's really the retainer is what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's a retainer is what it is.
Yeah, that's the one that spends 3 pages talking about how
So-
to collect the money.
There's a copy of it if you wanna see it.
We did share.
Yeah, we did share.
That's why we can't see.
But well, I believe it was a handout.
I think so. No, I wasn't.
Okay, we've got a, motion and a second.
Any discussion?
Any discussion?
Does anyone need more time to read it?
I'm a quick reader.
All right, we're good.
Thank you.
Does anyone else want, any of the other delegates or alternates want to take a look at the contract?
If you want to table that and then go back to it.
At all.
And it's the exact same one that was sent out.
Good,
I'm
Bob?
hungry.
All right, any more? Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? No? One no. Motion carries. Next item. Review of superintendent's job description.
All right, if you
Before we do
all,
that, I just have to ask, if you guys, when you're done with the contract, you can pass it back up here, because it needs to get signed. Thank you.
the last job description that had gone out was over 10 years ago. And to say that it was inaccurate or inadequate is a bit of an understatement. So we've been reviewing and updating that. So as long as you guys approve the job description, we will post it on the county site to be distributed. We'll reach out to our hosts and let everybody know that the job position is officially open, and we'll accept resumes and applications.
Question?
Yes, sir.
I of course agree that it's been 10 years since anything's been done about this. And in that 10 years, this organization has evolved from what was once in a closet in the basement of the county board and had one superintendent and a part-time secretary into several employees, $1 million budget, and a very complicated organization. It seems to me that the first question is, what part of being a VSO is described for the superintendent? I'm just curious.
If you're gonna be a superintendent, you have to understand the claims that are someone asked about.
Absolutely. I'm not asking, I know you should understand. I'm asking, what part of that description includes being a VSO specifically, for other than just an occasional exercise?
What part of being a superintendent requires
Under the job summary,
VSO?
where does that fall?
Where does it state, you mean, where does it state that you have to be a VSO?
Under the.
I do believe it says maintain accreditation.
I'm sorry, Nick, what did you say?
If it says, look at it again, I think that, yes, it says maintain
Maintain
accreditation,
accreditation.
but I think that that needs to be very specifically stated, veteran service officer accreditation.
What paragraph or what section are you in?
Section, this is
Job summary?
Under like
Page
things
nine,
like this, they
section
require
9,
accreditation from the U.S.
I think
Department
it's
of
just
Veterans
above the
Affairs
line.
Office for the general counsel, that is for VSO. So we can put VSO specifically in there, but that is what it is.
Right.
Right, and that, not that that's a requirement at hiring, but that they have to attain
Correct.
that.
Yes.
And there is accreditation courses, they're 3 times a year
Right,
through that
so-
VSO.
We can say attain accreditation, and I think language needs to be added in, attain accreditation, within 6 months.
Because it's 3 times a year, so.
That gives
maybe
you
within-
sufficient time to get your feet wet, slop through, and schedule time to go and do the accreditation.
And it's online.
And it's online. So that's one addition that we would need to be put,
Well,
one change.
specifically, what I'm asking is, that's not something that the superintendent is gonna be, it's not gonna become part of their job and responsibilities on a day-to-day basis. That's my question.
It's really not written in here as it is.
There's a lot of outside activity that the superintendent has to attend to, meeting with people and so on. And if you have an appointment, and something's going on that you have to be someplace else, you should be able to keep that appointment. So there has to be some accommodation for that within the staff. So how do we get you out of what you're stuck with for the present? Because I think it's taken away from too much of your time.
Well, my question,
She did take on claims occasionally.
What?
Christie did take on claims occasionally.
I'm not saying you
I don't
should.
know, she just
I
asked, she asked me.
simply asked if the former commissioner was an active,
If
a
you can address,
VSO, an
if
active
you can address
VSO.
the board instead of talking,
Yeah.
so I can't hear, I'd appreciate it.
So that was the question was the prior commissioner an active VSO?
I
Did she take
understand
on
there's gonna be occasions.
as many as you are doing at this time?
No.
Probably not, and so.
So my question though is, we're discussing that as the superintendent position, does this, Eric is serving as the interim superintendent, does that change? The job qualifications, it's, minimum qualifications, all of these things, does that change because he is an interim superintendent and not the
It
superintendent?
may have to if it lasts for a very long period of time. I mean, we've been without a superintendent now for 2 months, we haven't even posted it.
Another reason that I am maintaining claims is because A, veterans like me, and they don't wanna work with anybody else, so if that's the case, I'm gonna work with somebody that I've been working with for years. And B, because if you back away from claims, filing claims and working claims right now for any length of time, it is very quick to get out of your ability to do that effectively. So I have maintained a small amount of claims to A, help out the other VSOs so they're not quite as inundated, and B, to keep me up on my toes when filing claims.
Eric, I'm not suggesting, I didn't say, it wasn't in my vernacular, to say, don't do it. What I'm saying is, you can't do it on a regular basis.
Right.
If you have to neglect your other responsibilities.
Right. And I'm not doing it on a regular, like, daily basis. I'm taking a claim here, claim there. It's whenever the opportunity arises, or whenever one of the VSOs can't take a claim, then, or they're not available, or they're sick for the day, I will step in and take that claim from them and work that office, so a veteran doesn't come in and, have to leave and get rescheduled for a month and a half out further.
That would be appropriate.
So, no, I don't wanna change this job description based on what Eric's currently doing. He is interim. However, I would like to take Wayne's point, we need to get this posted as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
So
It'll be
I
up
really
tomorrow
want
if you guys
this,
approve it.
yes, I would really want to approve this. I found some typo changes, the English teacher in me says, as my students would say, this is mad cringe. There's a lot of things I wanna fix, but the heart and soul of this is excellent. One other thing that I would ask is, Jack is our non-voting member. When we get all these collected from Human Resources, which we have to decide how long we wanna keep this open for, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Let's decide on that as a board. We will have Jack do the first look through of all of these, probably with Lisa, who's also a non-voting member. And then I suggest that we kind of start to whittle down the process. And we've already talked a little bit about what that process will be. So I just wanna make sure that everybody's really clear about what we're gonna do, because I wanna run with this now so that Eric doesn't have to do 2 jobs.
Just for clarification, Amanda, I wasn't suggesting, again, a change. All I was asking was where it came under in the job description. But I do have one other question. Are we certain that that educational requirement is all that's necessary? Because it, by definition, become a very complicated responsibility.
So it's the idea here, and I hear you, and I want to hear everybody else on the board's idea. Bachelor's degree as a requirement, I think 10 years ago, was sufficient for what the previous superintendent was walking into. And I don't know that a bachelor's degree at this point, I don't know if that's gonna be sufficient. What I would ask for is that this is listed as master's preferred and bachelor's with equivalent experience, bachelor's and or equivalent experience is accepted. And the reason that I say it that way is we want the best qualified candidate And if we don't put masters on here, somebody with a master's degree is not going to apply. They're not even gonna look at it. There's algorithms set up from both sides of things, and it's just a human nature. If you've got a master's degree and you've got everything else, you're not even gonna look at a job that's asking for a bachelor's. So, and master's degree, it pretty much doesn't matter what it's in. Public administration, nonprofit, master's preferred, bachelor's degree and equivalent experience, acceptable. I just wanna know what everybody thinks on my board here, my fellow board
And
members.
Lisa wouldn't know because they're down there conversing.
I'm sorry, can you say that again? I can't hear you.
So at the last meeting, we did discuss this, and my proposal was to put education or experience, because again, I've got bachelor's, master's, doctorate, I have all those things, but I certainly don't believe that I'm any smarter than someone who doesn't, with a lot of things, and there are a lot of trades folks out there who didn't go to college, but have managed bigger budgets than I ever managed a lot of things and people. I suggested, and it was my understanding that we voted to include education and or experience. We can certainly whittle through the papers and figure out that somebody has or doesn't have that.
Right.
Now, are we backtracking now to vote now to only make it not only a degree, but also master's preferred?
No, I think what Denise was saying is that just putting the word masters in there can help with the algorithms seek out more candidates. So it'd be master preferred, bachelor's, or equivalent
No.
experience.
I hear you, and no, I'm stating specifically, and it is changing, because we did have this conversation. And that's why I'm asking for this conversation specifically, that it's master's preferred, bachelor, and equivalent experience. Meaning, as a requirement, meaning that it's the master's that we're looking for, and it's the bachelor's plus experience that we will accept. And I hear you, and the reason that I'm saying that is both because, you know, one of the statements that you had made, Lisa, and that we talked about, and I can see what you're saying, that, you know, you looked at all of the other VACs in the state, and you looked around, and there's all kinds of different qualifications. Since when did we compare ourselves to other VACs in the state? What other VAC in the state has the budget that we have? What other VAC is seeing 500 plus veterans a month? What other VAC does a fraction of what we do? And what we expect our staff to do, and what we expect our superintendent to do. So comparing what our superintendent requirements are to anybody else is absolutely apples and oranges. And that's the conversation that I want to hear everybody else chime in on.
We have to get a decision going one way or
Tonight,
the other.
right now, I want the conversation.
Fiddling around and changing our
It was
mind here.
motion and
It's not gonna be somebody you're gonna find right away, gonna appear like magic and be our new superintendent.
I have to say, I was one of the people who talked about making it education or experience. But I've done a lot of reading since that last meeting, and I agree with Denise in that it should be education and experience. I'm not sure about the masters. If we're gonna put masters in there, just ask for a master's degree. I mean, I don't understand why, I understand why we want to attract that level of education, but if we do want to attract that, let's put it in. If we don't, let's leave it out.
So I hear you, and I agree that I don't necessarily want to restrict it to only master's applicants, but I want to attract master's applicants. And without the word in there, you're not going to catch them.
But then you have a bigger learning curve, don't you?
What do you mean?
If you have somebody with masters but not any experience.
No, we're not saying that.
Oh, no, we're not saying that at all, Steve. What we're saying is putting the word master's preferred and then leaving everything else there, you're just simply attracting more people. You're not saying that with a master's and no experience, because is going to be the same as, so it's,
I'm not saying you're gonna specify masters and no experience, but if you get masters in what field?
this is all conversation I was hoping to have here.
Is that any better than
Probably.
bachelors with experience?
Steve, we're not looking for somebody who's been at this for a couple of years. We're looking for somebody that's been at it for 10 years. And if they haven't gotten a master's degree in that 10 years, I gotta question why.
But if it's.
If they're in this kind of business.
Yeah, again, it's kind of business.
I don't know that we're gonna get a lot of applicants with master's degrees in social work. Maybe, but a master's degree in, education. I don't think that they're going to have the other requisite experience as well, because that stuff still is gonna matter. And I kind of hope that the way that you said that is, yeah, if somebody's looking at this position, to me, a master's degree in this field is saying that you are a serious professional looking, this is your career, this is what you want to do. It's not, like it was, and like it is in many VACs, it's almost a hobby. You've got a guy that works 2 days a week, or you had a single superintendent and a part-time secretary. That's almost a hobby, but it's completely different skill set.
I do agree with you. I would support this job description changing the education to be bachelor's degree and experience master's.
So you're saying master's degree preferred, and then, or are you saying master's required?
Master's degree preferred.
So can we make that change, just simply adding in master's degree preferred, bachelor's degree in public administration, nonprofit management, or shelter management, business administration, or a related field?
Yeah, that's what I would.
Yeah, I might see. Question.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Question.
So when we make a motion, we'll include that phrase.
The correction.
The correction. Are there any other questions or any other corrections on this?
Anybody
Salary
went through
range.
this, got any other questions?
Anybody else got any questions?
We gotta get started.
Absolutely. Yesterday.
Yesterday.
I have another question. I know, kill me, shoot me, I'm sorry. Salary range, I thought that the range was gonna be posted. Am I incorrect on that, everyone?
That I left as determined on qualifications, because I'm not totally sure what the Will County process is, so it would depend on the Will County.
I would recommend we follow their process.
Yeah,
Okay.
that part, and also you'll remember I left the EEO statements because I know that Will County has their own specific. My recommendation was absolutely remove the requirements for physical and those, because we're talking about veterans here. We want people
Right.
with issues, perhaps we don't need to tell them no job.
Yes.
So I did remove that, but the other EEO has to come from the county, I let them in.
So I'm gonna make a motion, but it's gonna be in pieces, because there's a couple of things that we need to discuss, or that needs to be delineated here, in my opinion. And ASA wise, Judge Advocate Lisa McClassen, well, we can't call you that until next month, but Lisa, let me know if I'm doing this wrong, but because I wanna encapsulate all of it. So I'm gonna make a motion that we accept and post this job description for Superintendent Will County VAC with the change of minimum qualifications, master's preferred, bachelor's degree in public administration, etc. That's the only change I believe, and
Do you want to say? Yes, understand, experience.
what?
Is that there?
Well, that's kind of implied. I don't know that we need to say in experience. So do we need to make a motion then to direct putting this on the county website for how long, or is that just something, do we have to do that as motions, or is that something that we can just simply?
We
I
need
think
to have
minimum
a
is
date.
14 days, right?
We need to
sorry.
put a date that would, this ends, that this closes. Because
As
if
part
I'm
of
a
our
job
motion?
seeker, well, if I'm a job seeker and I'm looking at it and I'm like, all right, well, I think I could do that, I'd like to apply, but I need to know when it closes, right? How many days do I have to get my resume together and so on and so forth? So I think it's very important that we decide how long we wanna leave it open for.
So then this is the parliamentarian point of order question. Do we need to make motions on each aspect and vote on this separately, or can we make one long motion?
Oh, no, you should do it separately.
Okay, so the first motion then stands. I motion that we accept the superintendent's job description with the change in the minimum qualifications to master's preferred, bachelor's degree, et cetera, required. We're adding 3 words. No. The third word is bachelor's degree in public administration, nonprofit, et cetera, in a related field required, goes there. English teacher, are we good?
Yeah.
So that's the motion. So I
I'll
need-
second that, Jennifer.
Just as a point, it's also, there's education and experience requirements on page 5, where it have to be adjusted.
So it has to be adjusted on page 5 as well.
I second that motion.
Do this in steps, okay, we had the
Yes.
first motion, everybody got the words?
And one more time, just for clarity, or not?
No.
No.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And, okay, so I also would like to make a continuing motion that the staff post this no later than, what's Monday?
Holiday.
A holiday. What's the date? No, is it Monday?
Monday is Juneteenth
Oh,
observed,
that's
so let's do
Juneteenth. So-
Tuesday the 21st.
Tuesday, that it is posted on the Will County website no later than Tuesday, June 21st. And that we keep it open for 30 days? Or do you want to do 14? 14 is the minimum.
14. Let's
So-
we could do 21 just because the
You can
holiday in
always
there.
repost it if you don't get the applicants
Yeah.
that you want.
Okay, so if we, what are we saying?
I'm kind of thinking 21 days, only because we've got that 4th of July holiday in there.
Okay, so on,
Normally I'd be all about 2 weeks ago.
on June 24th, that we post, that this is posted for 21 days. And I guess that's where that motion has to stop.
June 21st, not 24th.
Yeah, June 21st.
21st, yes, for
Okay.
21 days.
We have a second,
I'll second it, Jennifer.
can I do a second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, the following on, continuing motion, that staff be directed to request of Will County HR to hold all applicants received to be picked up by President Jack Piccolo.
They do it electronically, don't they? You have it.
They print them all out.
They print them out.
They print them all out, and that they hold them to be picked up by President Jack Piccolo or his representative, after the 21 days. Did that make sense?
So you're saying, hold, you do all of them.
Hold them all for Jack
Until July
until
5th.
July 5th, or whatever the 21st date is after. So the 22nd date, that Jack will pick them all up, print out.
So I'm not gonna look at them for 3 weeks, someone could have sent it on day 1, and they're not gonna look at it 3 weeks.
Well, not until the job closes.
We wouldn't until job.
Posting closes, we don't get them back.
We wouldn't already.
So let's make it 2 weeks.
Okay, everybody understand that, Steve?
So the motion is that it's held open for 21 days. On the 22nd day, Jack Piccolo picks them up from the county.
Right.
Second, Cook.
And I think my final motion, no,
Vote on them individually.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
and then you seconded that, that's the third one. Amanda? What? You seconded, okay. So I think, and I don't know if this needs to be a motion or not, they advise that President Jack Piccolo as like, Amanda, that's a great idea, non-voting member of the board. And it, perhaps either Lisa or Chris Weiss, Chris, if you are available to do so, to do the initial sort through of all of the applications to verify minimum qualifications are met, and then remove or make copies with PII removed.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. What's the
Personally identifiable information, so that after.
I understand why you'll remove that, so you don't have to do it.
I'm sorry?
I understand why you would remove that, I just didn't know the PI.
Okay. Does that need to be a motion at this point, or we just, that's just a logistics thing to work out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't want to screen myself.
Well, no, no, it's not, you're not screening, you're,
No, yeah, but,
you're removing PII and
yeah, that I can do.
that's it.
Okay, so we don't need a motion for that.
Okay, so then the last thing on this, do we need a motion for a selection committee?
Wouldn't we all be the selection committee?
I thought we already had one. We already had one.
I mean, I think it's gonna be the executive board and probably closed session.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's personnel stuff. Okay, so there's no motions. I'm done.
we do that close.
Do we finally need a motion to approve this whole thing to go forward? It's not on the agenda, is that? Say we're gonna post it. Cause I feel like we just added amendments to.
Well, it was under review.
It was, we would post it by the 21st of June and have it open for 21 days.
So we focus setting?
And you already did that.
Okay.
We're set.
Yeah, we're good.
The end is in sight, Erica.
All right. Next up, new locks on the office doors. You already had the one request, that was a request to have the locks rekeyed, $1,000. We contacted Bays and got estimates for new doorknobs, new locks altogether, as well as electronic locks, as requested in the last meeting. No. $750 for new doorknobs each. $1,200 for new locks, electronic locks. $1,000 to $1,200 each for electronic locks. So I think the lead candidate is the $1,000 rekey.
I'll make that motion.
Second, so
What are you doing to make it more secure there?
What's that?
What are you doing to make it more secure? Besides, I mean, are the doors always locked? Somebody has to call or knock or what?
The door into the office area is always locked. We have closed the glass doors, so that is basically just a deterrent. It'll slow them down a little bit long enough to get behind, for everybody to get behind locked doors, if necessary. Aside from that, we have direct lines we have the phone numbers of the police on hand.
I'm sure it's been a big deterrent having that sign, no weapons allowed, but,
Yeah, that works
Yeah, I'm sure it works well. I know it's worked everywhere else, according to information I've heard. But what have you done?
We are having a meeting as soon as we get all our employees back to discuss the new policies, work through new policies and procedures, immediate action procedures in the event of either a threat or an actual incident. That's not something I want to throw together as an individual person, but we actually had it set for Wednesday, but Greg is not going to be here, so we postponed it until next week when he'll be back.
Yeah, we had the incident when you were gone. Something has to be done about that with the open door. Even our piece of glass shield we got there with a nice lock, stick your hand in. Right. Spray anybody.
Like I said, that's just deterrent. It's not ballistic, but the doors do lock, and each one of those sections are partitioned by a locking door.
Is there a camera at the door?
No.
I think that it'd actually be a privacy HIPAA issue, having cameras.
On the door, front door?
No.
Coming in and out of the office, there previously was an issue with having cameras and privacy HIPAA because people are coming in for different reasons.
I'd like you to revisit that because it is a security issue and it's about keeping stuff safe.
Right, we have people coming in for counseling though.
Well, I'd like to see something about that.
So, there have been changes in the laws regarding that, specifically for mental health, and you can have cameras on the exterior of the suite of offices of capturing everyone that is coming in the building.
How does that play though? Because the other offices we have is family guidance where people come in for methadone and that can capture that. So do you have to get permission from the other offices and it could capture?
No, what I'm saying is the outside the suite of offices, that means glass doors.
Right.
So the camera would be angled so that it only is capturing who's coming in and out of the VAC suite of offices, so that it's not impacting any other offices on the floor.
We have to have it angled just towards ours.
Right, so that's something I don't know, does the county have security? I don't know, who does the county use for security? Because there's cameras on the county buildings. The sheriff's deputy. So is that a conversation with them, or is that something that we have to do privately?
Yeah, we can find out, that's a good question. There is a security guard across the hallway at Workforce Services, but he's hired, private company, retired. Right. I think it's there just more for a visual deterrent. So,
yeah. But it's just outside our office.
Right. Right.
So I just think it's worth checking to find out if we can, let's check with the county first to see if we can put this together because we've had one.
The police officer did actually mention when they were there, panic buttons. I don't know how feasible that is right now. Maybe moving into the new building, that's something we could look at having built in. We can see if that is an option to retrofit.
So I worked with panic buttons before in HR, and they only work if you buy them.
Right.
And someone is intimidating you, someone died right there.
Right.
So you've got to be there to press it, but it's on the floor on your desk. If it helps keep someone secure on board, but I never found it useful. I think I used it once in 5 years. But I would favor something on the outside so you can see them before you unlock that door. And that says it's a camera house. So that's okay. If we're allowed to have it. I'll certainly check for you.
We don't have to worry about seeing people before we unlock it. Everything's glass.
No, but I'm saying they can see, you can see them at the camera they're taking.
So it's a secure entry
It's a
point.
deterrent.
But then somebody's gonna have to get up every time to go unlock the door, relock it.
We already locked the door.
No, we did just for that day.
Just for the
Correct,
day,
it's
we
always
locked
open.
it, and we were opening it for individuals.
The door's not coming into the main office.
we spoke with the police department and they said that the threat was not a threat.
You also probably can't keep that door locked until it starts.
Right, because that's not a push to open door. That's something you have to get down and physically fiddle with it to unlock it,
So maybe there's something you can buzz, like in apartment buildings, so you can open themselves, but you can buzz them in.
That would make sense for clusters, maybe moving forward.
All right, we're getting back up into probably 15, 17.
We got a motion on the floor for the $1,000 for each. A second. Need a vote? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
You'll have an update with the staff meeting about new procedures and anything that comes up at the next meeting. All right, and last order of the old business is just notification that the van wraps have been completed. They look awesome. Okay.
That's it? Good of the commission.
All right, below is just a summary of some of the things that we were able to, that we did throughout the past month. Obviously, a lot's happened since June 1st with training and, well, that's why we have calendars, so I don't have to remember what it is. But we do our recurring visits with Orland Park Vet Center, peer support groups, COC. Housing Wednesdays is back on, and that's running pretty smooth with COC. We did crossover training with the IDBA, which was the first time ever that IDBA and VACs have worked together during training, so that was kind of a groundbreaking event. It went very well. I think they were pretty impressed with our knowledge from the ICVAC, and we definitely got to know a lot more of the service officers that we've been hearing about for so long. We had our meeting with the auditors. The Beer and Bourbon Fest went over great, despite being a very wet day. It was pouring the entire day, but there was still people in and out the entire day. And then we had our budget meeting with the county on June 1st, which everything went smooth with them.
That's it. No executive session not necessary. Final is public comments.
Yes. So, William Sutton, Plainfield American Legion delegate. I know most of the board doesn't like me because I like to speak and tell the truth about things, especially on the plane. But at your meeting on the 17th that was recorded, it was brought up about 40 and 8, and that Tom Milnick should not be on the executive board because it's not fairly or state charter. There was a bunch of questions, especially one that I wasn't there. There was a bunch of questions in regards to why he was asked not to be a delegate anymore. The answer is that was Tom's choice. Tom asked me to step in as a delegate so he could move on because he was tired. Also, it was brought up for a vote against the Military Veterans Assistance Act that he gets to stay on that board, and it was approved by the ASA for this vote to take place, even though it's completely illegal. It goes against the Military Veterans Assistance Act, and I would like to know why that was done.
Your comments? If you got any other questions,
That's all.
you want to bring it's not on the agenda, so we can't discuss it. If you want to bring it up, put it in writing and put it at the next meeting.
The next, are we talking the next general meeting or next executive meeting?
Whichever you prefer.
Either way. Okay, thank you. Any more? No comments? I think we're ready for the motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourn. Thank you all.
So it was Horn and Singler, and what I caught, who did you catch for the motion?
I thought it was Blue Medicaid. Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
I got Janet.
I got,
I
yeah,
got
Jan,
Jan.
Steve.
And who was seconded?
Steve.
That's what I wrote down, yeah.
So we almost got everybody to say their names.
Yeah.
So it's Blue
Well, the ones
and,
that said their names, I think, them because I didn't know if you should
Blue and Bennett.
Oh, Lisa, I got so much stuff, questions. You want to chat over there? Sure. I didn't have any psychology and substance.
No, I'm not.
Anna. So, did you kill the recording yet?
Well, I'm trying to.